You're listening to another ambitious entrepreneurnetwork.com podcast, the voice for entrepreneurs and small business. Now, onto the show.
Welcome to Industry Thought Leader Podcast. Stand out, be heard, influence. Want to influence real change with your message while become known as an authority in your field? Industry Thought Leader Podcast will show you how. Now, over to your host, Anne-Marie Cross.
And welcome to another episode of Industry Thought Leader Podcast, brought to you by Industry Thought Leader Academy. Stand out, be heard, influence. My name is Anne-Marie Cross, also known as the Podcasting Queen. Now, my guest today says, KISS, keep it simple, sunshine. Joining me on today's show is Jean Barr. Jean, well, she is a master sales trainer and master sales coach, championing productivity, performance and profit for sales professionals and companies alike. Now, listen to this impressive qualification list. Jean has an MBA, a business management diploma, sales diplomas, marketing diploma, adult education diploma, and governance certificate, which makes her the thought leader to speak to around mindset mastery behind the psychology and neuroscience of sales. Now, specifically on today's show, Jean is going to share how we are all different, and as such, we communicate from a personal framework and state of mind, as well as that communication is an art. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks a million, Anne-Marie. I really appreciate being here. Thank you for asking me. Thank you, everybody, for being here and for listening. My goal today is to give anybody that is listening or everybody that is listening a tip or something that they're going to learn, take away and be able to put and use in their own businesses, whether you are a business owner, in sales. Well, actually, let me just define that. I believe that everybody's in sales. I'm not really interested what's on your business card because we're all there and we all have to communicate.
So true. And let's face it, I think sales being referred to as a dirty word. It's one of those things that so many people love to hate. But I'd love to ask you, Jean, what was it that attracted you, that really drove you to really become highly skilled in this area and now, of course, be passionate about sharing this message? What was that?
Oh, Anne-Marie, I think like for most salespeople, I fell into this. I started off as a nursing sister way back when, and then I went to go and work as a receptionist for a British engineering, which is, I don't think the company's around any longer. And they had me on their reception, and there was an incredible general manager called Justin Dawes. And Justin obviously saw something in there, and he came to me the one day and he said, look, I've been listening to you talk to people on the phone and engage with them and, calm people down and sort things out. And he said, I think that you'd be good in sales. Would you be interested? And quite frankly, I thought the man was completely nuts. But I decided that it was an opportunity that I really couldn't turn down. And I said, yes.
Yeah.
And so I started in insurance in the British insurance company, and that goes back probably till 1980 probably. And my journey in sales is that I've been lucky enough, I don't know that there's luck, but I've been privileged enough to be tutored by or have some really good role models. And some people who've taken me under their wing and encouraged me and motivated and made sure that I had the tools for the trade. And more importantly, I think mentored me along the way. And so I started in insurance, in sales, and for me, it's been the most amazing journey in the whole world. I love it to bits. I'm passionate about just engaging one person at a time and helping them to go through the sales process and understand that it's not a dirty word. It's not one of those professions that you fall into when you've got nothing else to do, that it is one of the hardest professions around, that you've got to engage mind, body, and soul 24 hours a day, be on your game, do lots of homework, and seriously be absolutely passionate about engaging with your client in a space where you become a trusted advisor to them.
Yes.
So gone are the old sales tactics where you've got a key, a car, and some brochures and some business cards and a cell phone, and you go out there and you wake up in the morning and you go, wonder where I should be and wonder what I should be doing. Nah, that's not where you should be. And if you're doing that, you're in trouble, trust me.
Yes.
And that's just coming out of COVID-19. We're really in a very, very different place from when we went in. And we need to be looking at things incredibly differently and through a different lens and with a different mindset.
Yes. We're going to talk about the fact that we are all different, and I'm assuming when you talk about that, you're talking about, the individuals that we're speaking to and building a relationship. We need to be mindful of that. But I want to touch on a point that you mentioned just now, and that we are in a different environment. We need to change mindsets and we need to change our approach. And for many of us, organizations here in Melbourne, Australia, where I'm based, we're in a second lockdown. I was just chatting on WhatsApp with one of my colleagues, and there's a hint of another country and around the other side of the world that is possibly looking at a second lockdown. So many organizations are still not through this, because as a globe, we're not through this. What are some of the things that as an organization, and this is even true if you're a solopreneur or you've got, bigger business, we still need to follow similar principles. What are some of the things that we need to be mindful of moving forward to help us navigate through this change? What are some of the things that we need to have in place and our approach and mindset? Let's talk about some of the changes that are needed. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
So I personally believe that communication is king, all right? That we need to get back to basics. Gone are the days of shooting out emails and texting people. We have to engage. We've got to engage with absolute intent with our clients, with our colleagues, with our peers, with staff members, with our teams, with everybody that makes our business what it is. And to that end, I think one of the key things that I engage with when I talk to teams or talk to people, business owners, salespeople, is around understanding your personality, how you come across, how you engage with people. So, are you a socializer? Do you go out there, you vibrant, you chatty, you just want to know everything about everybody? You not really good at the finer details, and you just want to engage with people. Now that is going to do the hidden of the analyst person, like your doctor, your lawyer, your accountant, your engineer, because they're all about facts and figures, and they don't want to do the whole small talk thing. So you've got to understand what your personality is, how you're coming across, but more importantly, the other people around you and how they communicate. And then, of course, how best to communicate with them. Now, this isn't trickery. This isn't manipulation. This isn't any rubbish like that. This is just simply about understanding who you're talking to, what kind of person they are, so that you can communicate with them in the best way to get their attention, to get them on board, and to have a genuine conversation with them. because it's about connection. So if you're not connecting with people, you're having a conversation, but you don't understand who you're connecting with and how you're coming across, you're going to have disconnection with that person.
Yeah.
Lost you. All right, now we're back.
Now we're back. Here
So
we Yes, so you were saying, we heard you say, and I love this. Let's pick up on that. You were saying that now, even more so, we need to be very mindful about our communication styles, having an awareness, so doing research on to whom we're speaking to and their preference. I think that's even more so important, as you were saying, because of the fact that things have changed. And so we need to be far more mindful of how we approach people. Now that many of us are starting to do networking and communications online, what are some ways that we can start to observe or find out a little bit more about the person to whom we're going to reach out to? Are there some things that you've been doing that has supported you in that? Because it's great to be able to respond and interact, but how do we find out what that other person is like, what their preference of communication is like?
So I think being in the digital age, Anna Marie, one of the things we have to do is use it to our advantage. So look up the company on the company's thing. Look on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest. Do your homework.
Yes.
And LinkedIn is the leading business page. So look at that. But to get a better idea of the person, look on their Pinterest, look on their internet, look on Twitter, Facebook, look on all their pages to get an idea. Look at some of the things that they may be engaged in. Look on the internet, pull up their name, and you may see links to a gentleman I was talking to yesterday is into race cars. I would never have known that.
No.
What other businesses do they run? Do they have a family? Are they do they run their kids' little league baseball game or soccer team or netball team? So find out about them. And I think that when you're engaging with people, be very, very clear around the value proposition that you bring to them. All right?
Yeah.
Because one of the things that I have noticed on internet since lockdown is that everybody and their dog is on the internet. And I've got emails, probably about 120 emails a day of people offering me one service or another.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that we've got to do is we've got to understand the value proposition that we bring to our clients, because we've got to help them to understand why they should choose us as opposed to 20,000 other people they could be dealing with. Because if they don't understand how you're different and what it is that you bring to the table, you just become a commodity or just some noise. And then they would evaluate you on the basis of their framework or what they know. So you have to reframe that person's idea of what it is that you would bring to the table.
Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant. And again, I think the way that we explain that or share that has to very much be in the way in which they would appreciate that. So in other words, if someone is very chatty, they may tend to write big, long paragraphs, whereas someone who is more factual, I just want the facts, that kind of thing. One of the things that, and I'm sure you would find many people struggle with, well, how do I broach a conversation? And maybe there is it is really finding out if there is a need first, but how do they go from building the relationship first, being interested, being curious, speaking, in your case of the example that you shared, someone who loves racing cars, making a comment online about that. How do we then take the conversation from that to see whether there is a need? Is there a nice way to, is there a question maybe? What sort of things or approach would you say would be a good approach online? Any insights to that?
I think for me, I think it's about engaging and saying, look, for me, I'm in sales training, leadership training, coaching, business advisory services. So right now we're going through COVID-19. There's a lot of companies out there that are closing down, restructuring, going through some HR stuff, and then also repositioning their company, their offer, their products. So, you know, is there could I have a chat with you about where you're up to at the moment, what that looks like now and moving forward, and see that if I can have a chat with you and maybe have help you put a strategy in place around what that looks like for you.
Yeah.
Because what I've found is that people know what they know what they've got to do, but knowing and doing are two different things.
Yes.
And I think that one of the things that salespeople, business leaders need to understand right now, apart from the personality profiling and communication styles and all the rest of it, is research is showing at the moment that the people who are going to have a job in 2025 and moving forward are those people who have invested in themselves, who understand EQ, emotional quotient, how to reflect, how to come back, how to see how they're behaving, how to also be really quiet and talk to their clients, but ask more questions than talking.
Yes.
And people who have the soft skills package, that is key to everybody moving forward. And one of the things that we're seeing, Anna Marie, is that with COVID-19, before COVID-19, there were a lot of people that had some mental health, emotional problems, all that sort of thing, that they were just coping with, and they were just, just walking through. But what we have found with COVID-19 is that with the isolation, with people losing their jobs, with an increase in family violence and a whole bunch of things, companies having to liquidate or just close their doors because they simply can't do it anymore, there's a greater increase in mental health. And so I think that our role in sales, when we're talking to people, we have to look at it in terms of a holistic conversation. And I have the philosophy that you make a client, you don't make a sale. All right? So you have a conversation with a client and you talk about them, you build that relationship where you are asking some quite in-depth questions. Now, that is a skill. Not everybody can do that. You'll know for yourself. You ask somebody how they are, what do they say?
Good.
Fine.
Yeah, good. The standard questions.
I'm good.
Yeah, good. Fine.
All right. So I think what we've got to do moving forward is salespeople need to be a trusted advisor. So they're not a salesperson, they're a trusted advisor. So they've got to find out as much as they possibly can about their clients.
Yes. Yeah, brilliant. The fact that you mentioned too that LinkedIn, and I totally agree, LinkedIn is such a valuable, rich platform to connect and even to learn. There's so many more opportunities. And I think from a business perspective, and you talked about holistic, and I think this is where so many businesses need to look at their divisions. So you're talking about sales divisions. Well, how can sales work with marketing, content development,
Absolutely.
collaborate? Because imagine because you just said a number of different issues that I'm sure many businesses are going through. They're reestablishing, where are we going to position ourselves in the market? We need to adjust, we need to pivot, or what one of my clients once said, I'm repivoting my pivot, because she's being fluid. Imagine if the marketing team wrote a rich article that spoke into the expertise that the business could support. The sales team asked them great questions to start the conversation, and the potential person's client says, actually, we are struggling with that. We've created an article. Go and read here. You may be able to pick some insights. Now, you build trust, but you're also building a level of authority there, because imagine that article enabled that new connection to think, we never thought of it that way. So that's kind of where you're saying, provide value, ask great questions, because conversation that comes from that is going to help you continue to build what we know is so important, know, like, trust. Yes?
Absolutely. And the other thing, of course, is that with being a trusted advisor, with growing your sales skills, you've got to be intentional in your conversation.
Yes.
And intentional in your conversation, and intentional
someone just mentioned that someone who knows you, but they're not logged in, so we don't know who that is, but said, oh, you won't have Jean. But this is what the conversational intelligent to be built is huge now, and I think that really is what you're talking about.
It so is. And I think that when we're engaging, it's not a case of 20 questions or the Spanish Inquisition. Okay, we're not going that place. What it is a really intentional conversation with somebody, and helping them, asking those very deep questions that A, they may not have thought of, B, they may have thought of, but it was in the too hard box. B, and another thing could be just the fact that they're simply in overwhelm. And research has shown that when you are in overwhelm, you actually do not have the ability to focus, to process logically, and to formulate a process or an idea.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where a lot of business owners are at the moment, and salespeople particularly, I don't think have grown the skills or been able to grow the skills to be able to have those incredible conversations with people. And I just think that at the end of the day, we've got to really and truly focus on how we're showing up, and show up with intention, show up with honesty, authenticity, and great integrity. So you're not in there to get a sale, you're in there to build a relationship with a client and be their trusted advisor and help them in their journey as they, whatever that is, as they move through this process and into the next part of their business journey, whatever that looks like.
Yeah. I think what you've just mentioned there is a huge eye-opener, especially for businesses who may be setting expectations for the sales team to deliver results, because I think, as everyone, you mentioned some key points. I mean, we could unpack all of that and have many shows and many hours to speak on this. But one of the things that you said there, people who are overwhelmed unable to process those sorts of things. Yeah. So what we do not want to do is have our sales team forced to load up many more things to already overwhelmed people. But the fact that what we can do now is become a trusted advisor is to be there, provide support from a viewpoint of really building a relationship. And I love what you said, with integrity, so that, the building blocks, I think, and the foundations we build now in the relationship will hold us in good stead as companies start to determine the way forward. And if we've been the trusted advisor that's happy to share, maybe get articles or what other resources, guess who they're going to reach out to when they are ready to step forward and get support? It's going to be the person who's taken the time to become that trusted advisor, yes?
Yeah, write articles, do a blog, um, put look at the industry trends around the world. Look at the different ways your competitors or the people in your industry or dealing in your products or your services, how are they showing up? What are they doing? You don't have to reinvent the wheel. I'm going to be honest with you. You do need to be on top of it. You do need to know what's going on. You do need to know what other companies are doing so that when you're engaging with your client, you can bring some of those into the conversation. Because what I've found is that people actually stay in their own little world and they go hard. But salespeople from now moving into this, one of the biggest things that they can bring is the ability with soft skills, integrity, authenticity, doing homework. Do your homework, understand your client, engage. Now, it's not about the hard sell. It never was, never will be. It's not about the hard sell. It's simply about having a conversation, but a conversation based on the fact that you have done some homework. Because when somebody knows that you've done some work around who they are, what they do, they will engage with you better. If you arrive there and you can't say anything about their company, about what they do, their products, any of their competition, or anything, they are not going to engage with you because to their mind, you're just coming to sell me something.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. It has to lead from value, doesn't it? And that's what you said right at the beginning, because unless we lead from that, we're just not going to cut through the plethora of people now who are online. And it's even more so now, I think, because of so much more overwhelm of content and information being shared. And for many people, particularly if we look at typically, you know, when you think of sales, not that people were going around with the car and the briefcase and the business cards and so forth, but even kind of online, many of the people that they may now be speaking to, the online world is quite foreign to them. And we don't know. So we need to be mindful of that too as we approach them, because we want to eliminate as best as we can that potential barrier and just make sure that our conversation and how we relate to them does not just become another added pressure, overwhelm to them. And so we need to, when we move forward in that way, how can I make this conversation even better for them, valuable, so that someone actually looks forward to hearing from me because they know they're going to take a tidbit away. They know they're going to have an insight or just even feel better. Imagine if we became the person that people love to interact with, whether it be via text, whether it be let's get on a Zoom call, and they enjoy that because they know through, you know, the experience of being with you, they're going to feel better. And obviously you become that trusted advisor.
And I think one of the things that you said up front is that we need to use the KISS principle.
Yes.
Now, whatever the second S is that you use, my version is keep it simple, sunshine.
Yeah.
And it's not dumbing down, all right? It's just about keeping your communication simple, because the simpler you make the simpler your conversation is, the quicker I can understand what you want me to understand, your value, what it is you're bringing to the table. The quicker I can understand, then the quicker I can make a decision about whether I continue to engage with you. But if you make it so overwhelming that I'm left sort of in a world of pain going, what the heck? Then then I'm not going to engage with you because it's just in the too hard box. So I'm just going to cut you out. And that's got nothing to do with who with you as a person or your company. It's just that you haven't communicated in a way that I understand, therefore can process and make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the other things that we all need to understand is that we are all tuned into the one radio station, and it's called WIIFM. So what's in it for me to do business with you? All
Yeah.
right? So that's what I'm thinking.
Yes.
What we have to do is we have to translate that to our clients in terms of what's in it for them to do business with me and us. And I think that is just, it's very simple, but we've just got to get our head around why people would want to work with us. And it's not a hard thing. They want to work with you because people work with you because they like you. They trust you. You know your business. You can help them. You're providing a solution. It's not hard, but it's about us. The whole thing lies with us as we communicate with um, our clients or the people that we're working with or want to work with. And I think that is so important. It's not about us. It's about our client.
Yeah.
And I think that if we focus on not making a sale, but making a relationship, making, engaging in the space where you're a trusted advisor, where you're walking alongside them. I actually told a team of salespeople last week that where you actually are working for them in their company, but not being paid by them.
Yes. Yes. Brilliant. And it completely changes the relationship too. And I think for many people who originally really felt awkward to do with sales, I think it's transforming it by saying, well, you don't actually, if you just continue to lead with value, ask great questions, the ones that are going to enable the conversation to be enriched and very much focused on how can we provide support? Can I share an article? Is there a resource? Can I connect you with some? Become that trusted advisor. You'll almost get to the point where someone will say to you, how can I work with you? We need to work. I think we need to work together more. And that's so true, even more so now, I think, with the environment that many people are faced in, because at the moment there's a lot of unknowns, there's a lot of uncertainty. But what we can be certain of is that when it comes to building relationships, it can take time. So what a great opportunity it is now to be able to lead with value, lead consistently, we continue to build those solid foundations. Now, the person who was commenting and said, there's Jean, is Pat Armistead. So you obviously know each other.
Pat is an absolute legend. Just love her to death. She's an Aussie. She was here in New Zealand, and she's gone back to you guys, which is a little sad, but she's an incredible person. Incredible.
Yeah. So there you go. Look, Jean, we have just scratched the surface in what we shared today. However, it's certainly given people some food for thought moving forward. If you're not implementing and just not focused, when you're talking about sales, rather relationship building, becoming that trusted advisor, now really is such a good opportunity to do that. How can people find out more about the awesome work that you're doing? How can they best connect with you, Jean?
So my website is www.topachieversalstraining.co.nz. There's some training platforms. If you just want to have a chat with me, there's a connect thing. Just go and book a time, and let's sit and have a chat and see how I can help you. See if you want to work with me. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but a lot of people do like me, so that's important.
Well, we've had a great conversation today, so we've certainly broken the ice for them anyhow.
And when you go on the website, there is a video of Pat actually interviewing me. So that will be there.
Oh, well, there you go. Love that. Love that. Love that I can connect with awesome people such as yourself. And thank you very much for the time today, for sharing your insights. We're all in a situation where we're having to revisit what we're doing. However, what we do know is important, that whether we're sitting in today's environment or whether in a year's time, 2 years' time, whatever, it is about relationships, how we approach others. And I think moving forward, the integrity you spoke about, the excellence in the work that we provide, whether we're in product and service, whatever field, it is going to lead with that so that we continue to build that know, like, and trust, even more so important in the environment that we find ourselves. So thanks once again for coming on the show.
Hey, thanks so much, Anne-Marie. Have an incredible thing. For those people that were online, hopefully I added, if there's anything you want to know, give me a call, catch up with me, book an appointment, let's have a chat. I'd love to help you. I'm just so passionate about helping people to succeed. But thank you so much. Anne-Marie, I'm a complete fan. You're an amazing lady. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Vice versa too. Thanks, Jean. Bye for now.
Okay. Bye-bye.